Very much, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say a word or two about Judge Koh. The Supreme Court has a docket of very limited size. It hears only a small handful of cases every year. In fact, it hears fewer and fewer every year, it seems, which is an interesting question of its own. But that means that in most cases, the buck stops with the courts of appeals, and that's why the nominees that we put on these appellate courts matter so much. The Supreme Court has reversed or otherwise blocked at least 3 of Judge Koh's decisions just in the last year. Now, I'm not aware of any other district court judge in the nation who has been reversed that often by the Supreme Court in such a short time. And what that means is she just isn't getting the law right. And that's a problem given the job that she's asking for a promotion for. I have serious concerns about giving someone a promotion when they're not doing their current job well. The most notable of these cases is Tandon versus Newsom. And that dealt with the fair application of COVID restrictions during the pandemic. She acknowledged that in this opinion that the state gave businesses an exemption that people of faith did not enjoy. Tattoo parlors, for instance, were fine, but worship was not. The Supreme Court of the United States pointed out that it is not permissible to allow hair salons, retail stores, personal care services, movie theaters, private suites at sporting events and concerts, and indoor restaurants to bring together more than 3 households at a time, and simultaneously to tell people of faith that they can't gather in groups of more than 3 households at a time. The Supreme Court particularly took issue with Judge Koh's assumptions in her opinion that people of faith were less likely to wear masks and socially distance and therefore could not be trusted to gather in their homes, while folks in commercial settings, all of these other places, retail stores, personal care services, movie theaters, private suites at sporting events, that those folks could be trusted to socially distance and to follow the rules. Here's what the Supreme Court said: the state cannot assume the worst when people go to worship, but assume the best when people go to work. And it reversed Judge Koh's opinion. I have serious reservations about all of the times that she was reversed by the Supreme Court, but I have to say, and I discussed this with her at length, her opinion in the Tandon case really is something to behold. The Supreme Court has said repeatedly for decades, you cannot treat secular entities more favorably than you treat people of faith. It has been a bedrock principle. Now, we have seen states and governors try to do this throughout the pandemic, try to favor retail businesses, try to favor money-making entities, try to favor folks that probably, frankly, bring in a lot of money or maybe contribute a lot of money to their political coffers and disfavor people of faith. It is simply not permitted by the First Amendment of the United States. And to see Judge Koh not only go along with it, but bless it and to assume, as she does in her opinion, for which she was explicitly rebuked by the Supreme Court, to assume that people of faith cannot be trusted, I think is very, very disappointing, to say the least. And again, I questioned her at some length about this. You know, I had the privilege to be a religious liberty litigator for most of my time as a practicing lawyer before I was Attorney General of the state of Missouri. In that position, in that role, I had the chance to defend many people of faith, of different faiths and minority faiths in this country. And what I saw repeatedly as a pattern is that folks who were in majority positions often disfavored those of a different faith because they didn't trust their intentions, they didn't trust their goodwill. I have to say that Judge Koh, assuming that people of a different faith wouldn't follow the guidelines, but people in commercial settings, businesses, other things approved by the state would, is deeply troubling. The Supreme Court was right to rebuke her for that. And for all of those reasons, I just can't support her nomination. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Hawley. As I noted in my opening statement, Judge Koh has issued more than 3,250 written opinions. You take exception to 3 recent reversals. Certainly there is a body of work there that helps define what she really believes. And of course, she is bound by the precedent as a district court judge of the circuit that she serves in. And that was, she told us repeatedly, was the basis for her decision in Tandon versus Newsom. That case then went to the Ninth Circuit, and the Ninth Circuit affirmed her opinion in that case. And it included 2 Republican appointees who sided with her as well. Then it was taken to the Supreme Court. You've used the word rebuke over and over again. It's your right to do that. The decision by the Supreme Court reversing her original trial court decision was a 5-4 decision. And Chief Justice Roberts sided with her and her position on the issue. I don't think that's as much a rebuke as a close call, as close as they come at the Supreme Court. She's made it clear from the start that she has no bias against people of faith, and she has the background support of those of her own religion, which evidence that. So I would say that you did raise that question, as others did repeatedly, and I think there is a solid response. Are there any others seeking recognition on this nomination? If not, on favorably reporting the nomination of Lucy Coe to be U.S. Circuit Judge for the Ninth Circuit, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Leahy.
Aye.
Mrs. Feinstein.
Aye by proxy.
Mr. Whitehouse.
Aye.
Ms. Klobuchar.
Aye by proxy.
Ms. Klobuchar.
Aye.
Mr. Coons. Aye. Mr. Blumenthal. Aye. Ms. Hirono. Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Padilla.
Aye.
Mr. Ossoff.
Aye.
Mr. Grassley.
Aye.
Mr. Graham.
Aye. By proxy.